managed to get here without Stranger Source killing us. It's
With
real.
flag impaling.
Yeah, really, just like throwing that thing javelin style across the room and just taking us out.
Yeah.
Across the room, across the
And then
ocean.
like standing on our bodies with the flag all triumphant.
Yeah,
It's still stuck in. Like, I claim this fluff in the name of flag.
something like that.
Maybe dinos should work for YouTube.
That makes sense.
It's like a bounty hunter, it's a flag hunter.
So today we have Aliclaw
Hello.
and just Zai, not Fluffy Zai or Princess Fluffy Zai. It's just Zai.
I'm not fluffy anymore?
Well, your name just says Zai.
Oh, I can't remember why I changed it back to Zai for something, but whatever. I am always the princess of plushies and fluff.
And there's a cute pencil case buried in a corner, her huddled up so there's nothing sharp around her. And no water.
Or electronics.
Or electronics, yes. Alright, so let's
And yourself there,
Well,
Mr. Zombie
I'm not
Body.
here. I am a
You're
figment
not?
of your imagination.
Oh, I had a best friend all along.
I was more an imaginary friend.
I am actually
So-
your Tupla.
Tupla.
Topa?
Whatever it is.
I just know when you say Tupla, all I could think of is that SpongeBob clip with like the hoopla.
Alright, so let's do Sundow's picture here. It's the only non-horse thing on our sheet here. Alright, Sundaw, explain yourself. What problems are you having? What questions do you got? What's up?
So, he was here a moment ago. Maybe he fell asleep.
Sunny's asking if we should.
You can turn on voice while we're critiquing your picture.
Absolutely.
It's totally loud.
Oh, okay. So, hi. Right, so basically my two biggest questions are, one, if you see anything really wrong anatomically wise, then that. And the other one is, since this is for Inktober, so I'm basically trying to do this with only black and white, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
What my options are for trying to add more subtle details, like around the eyes, to give it a bit more shape, to make it seem more 3D.
Okay. Was this sort of like your post-cleaning, or did you have under-sketching before this?
I had an undersketch, like I sketched the entire thing in pencil and
Okay.
then went with ink over it.
Ooh, God, pardon me. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to do. I cannot see my pen at all. I need to make it bigger.
I think the biggest overall suggestion I can give is if you want to get like different varying details, get different varying line weights. That's really
Yeah.
going to help things differentiate, like with the subtlety of the eyes and like the thickness of the horns or just the outline of the body itself. So like if you can get a brush pen, do it. They're great for line weight.
I was using CPC's Copics, and those are really fun.
And if you don't have a pen, you can use you can just go over and add more thickness. Normally it's around places with more shadows, but with the pen itself, with the normal technical pen, you can go back and make your own line weight even without the.
That's true.
So I think the chin needs to move here a little bit. It's just looking at the original drawing. It sort of like has this weird like how it goes down here from the lips, which sort of look a bit too high as well. So just moving the chin up a little bit towards those, sort of rebalancing the face a little bit, which is hard to do, especially on top of one thing that's really hard to do with these critiques is it's really hard to draw on top of a drawing and get it how you would normally, because you're seeing like both. It's really hard to like push one away with your brain.
Mm-hmm.
But something like that. I'm not super good with like human drawing, but it's that's something I've had to learn for some of my D&D characters. This isn't so much to do with adding fine details; it's a taking away. I've lost my pen color, All I have is white now. I have nothing but the void of white. We get a blue. There we go. Okay, cool. So with these, immediately upon looking at the picture, this whole area here is something that like really bothered me because there's just too much going on. There's like I think it's cool that you've done each of these little leaf lines. I think that's really nice detailing there, but it's a bit too messy. With something like this, it's actually better to sort of go for a less is more approach and sort of try to apply details without we'll keep basically doing that without drawing every single leaf. The same thing goes with drawing trees. You wouldn't draw every single leaf on a tree because you'd be there forever. Also, it would actually just not look very good. So since all of this and all of like this is just a big white empty area, this is probably the reason why you're wanting to add details. I'm assuming it's because am I right in assuming you probably feel like the face is a bit empty compared to all the stuff over here with the hair?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, because it's more because the hair is too detailed than because the face is not detailed enough. If that makes any sense. So I just it can be difficult, but trying to find a way to sort of show sort of like a leaf construction without actually drawing every single leaf can be hard to do. But if you experiment a little bit and come up with something, you can do that. It's something we've given critique on before for people. It's like having a pathway of stones and just building it up by just adding little details here and there, and then your brain says, oh hey, this is a stony path, without drawing every single stone in the path. Other than that, I don't think there was anything that was really glaring to me. Do you guys have anything?
No, I mean, like, I really like the ears. Like the horns, they're good. They're very good placement.
Yeah, I really like those.
I really think it's great. Like, I like that your lines don't feel super shaky. Like, I know that's one of the really hard things to do with ink.
Yeah. So they are a little bit on these leaves, but then that's their leaves. They're going to be actually bumpy like that in real life. So.
But like on the
works.
body and the ears and like,
yeah, they're nice and smooth on the body. I do love that the hair here, sort of like you have it like blossoming out from this area. You've got like a clearly defined like hairline, and it's like wrapping around the horns, and it's just really cool. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Do you have any other questions?
No, it was it. Thank you.
I will say, if you want to add some shading and don't want to jump the shark all the way to Copic, you can, and still want to keep with the ink, go pick up a cheap thing of dip ink. Costs you $3 or $4, and a few okay brushes, watercolor brushes preferably. They'll cost you another $2 or $3. You're going to take water, add it into a small glass container, and then just a drip or two of ink, and you can use that in varying intensities of ink to do the shading.
Clever.
Takes a bit more effort than
that's pretty
Copics,
neat.
but works well.
CPC was lining with inks and brushes when I was over there, and then she spilled the ink all over herself.
Oh, yeah.
All over the table and her clothes.
Oh no.
It was a bit of a disaster.
Actually, I don't think it cleaned off my thing.
Oh no. It's stained.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the thing was already dark, but it's still kind of sticky from all the ink that was dropped.
Oh my gosh.
Bum,
Alright.
bum, bum.
Let's move
Half
on
a
to the next
bottle
one.
of ink.
You should avoid that.
Shame white.
Alright, so Pony Boy. They are the Twilight down there.
Ah. Wiggle biggle.
You got any questions for us on this one, Pony Boy? Sorry, can you repeat that?
How does one do shading on the face at that angle?
Oh, shading on the face. All right. So when you're building it up, you are building it as a 3D shape, at least in your mind, right? Woo.
Yeah, kinda. I based it off of some of the 3D models that I make in Blender.
Well, but if you even have Blender available for you, this makes it a touch bit easy. All right, so we go ahead and take out your face here. Whoop. We've gone ahead and turned it, well, we can go ahead and turn it into a semi 3D mesh going on here. So we take that halfway across, and we got the face sideways. So we know that everything over in this, let's go with, not purple, not orange. Why not orange?
Do you want me to lower the mouse?
No, it's fine. I'm just throwing a base on real quick. So we know that everything over on the front area of the face, where this orange is sitting, that should be, assuming the light is behind the head, that should be in a darkened sort of area. We know that the cheek pops out and is a large object that sort of sits on the side and rolls around real quick. So it's not going to be as intense. So we can take a little bit off of that, round out the cheek. Then, depending on what angle the muzzle is on, if the light's coming from directly behind, the entire muzzle should be shaded down. And same as most the mouth, you'll get all around the edges, but not the cheek, or not the lower part over on this blue area here. And basically, you're just going to build up from there, trying to build out your shape. It'll take a little effort, but you have a really cool reference because you said you're building these based off of something that you've done up in Blender.
I pretend to know what I'm doing.
That's what we all do. That's the secret. We fake it till we make it. And if everyone's faking it and no one's calling it out, then we're all doing fine. So my suggestion would be keep approaching it as though it's a 3D object, and you're just going to keep building on it as though everything is still a volume.
Right. I had a little bit of a question about the ear too.
Sure.
I forgot to add that in. See that little part that dips in a little bit, kind of like an S curve on the inner part of the ear?
Mm-hmm.
Should that be shaded as well? I would imagine that would be facing a little bit more towards the darker area.
I would do basically the entire lip, or just the littlest bit lip on the side, and then I'd do the entire inside. To try and give it a bit more definition, you do making the outside of it, the little area scribbled in blue, making that a bit lighter usually helps, especially because it curves around and meets back with that light, and it will have reflected light off of the mane bouncing back to it, considering all these horses use the shiniest mane material ever. Yeah.
Can I tell y'all a fun fact?
Sure, why not?
I'm actually using these pictures as a concept art for a type of animation that I don't think has ever been used in the fandom. Imagine SFM but ultra realistic. Still show style, but looks like it came out of real life.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. Like actual hair, realistic eyes, clothing that looks like, it was made by a person instead of just a lump of Play-Doh.
I'll be interested to see what that is.
Absolutely.
So this is a very
Yeah,
pointy
it's-
horn, I
it's
just realized.
As soon as I get out of university, that's what I intend to do. That'll be my thesis project.
Well, best of luck.
Yeah.
You got any other questions?
Well, just one more. What do you think about that horn? Do you think it's shaded right or no?
I was just about to talk about the horn. I think it's very, very thin. I thought maybe it would poke out here, but so I was doing the lines to just see where it goes. So it's not doing that. Though whether it's placed right in the forehead, I don't know. It does look like it's extremely thin though. Like that is a needle horn. So we're looking at, if we were going to go with what LD is drawn here instead of initial, so we can say, okay, here's the 45-degree angle to be about this sort of place. Your hair is very voluminous, it's really poking out, so I don't know how easily the horn will actually be showing. Actually, that's a bit of a wrong angle myself. But it's
That line that goes top area and everything where it pokes out.
yeah.
One
It's
black line.
just depending on how thick you've got the hair. Sometimes it will cover the horn, and I know I always want to show the horn as well, but sometimes it just ends up getting hidden. What you can do, which I think what the show does, if I can figure out where my cursor's gone, have the mane cut out here. Oh, sorry, I'm drinking Monster. So you have the horn showing here, cutting out between the mane rather than behind it, and then just have the rest hidden. You could do it that way, just because then it's not like incredibly long.
Yeah, I was going for a more, classic unicorn appeal, where they've got the incredibly long
Yeah, I
front
like
hair.
those too. It's just even for that, it still looks extremely like pointy. But it's up to you which style. I mean, I started doing quite thick horns myself, but so it's up to you which sort of style you use. Where's my
I
razor
still
gone?
think that if you keep this long horn, it might be a good idea to at least cut around here,
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
because the hair kind of curves this way. So here it might be where it's like the center, because here it's curving
Well,
back.
that's what I was trying to suggest earlier when I mentioned the black line. Like erase that little section of the hair and everything and allow the
Yeah,
horn to show through.
Yeah.
That might work. I don't have anything else there.
But overall, does it look like a good picture?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you've done a good job with the coloring. It's really nice.
I think I've come a long way.
See,
Well, that's all the
perseverance.
questions.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, then. Let's move on to our next picture. Let's do the top one.
Another toilet.
So cool.
Not quite sure if it's actually Twilight.
True. That's true.
It does look like all the colors are roughly the same, except the missing like mane and tail colors and cutie mark. But otherwise, it could
no
be anyone.
wings.
Yeah. Well, so there was a point when she didn't have wings.
Right?
What? That never happened.
I often forget her unicorn origins too.
So,
Emily Larson brainwashed you.
so this is by Stamis, and they say, I bought a Wacom Cintiq this weekend, and this is the result. There is so much I need to figure out about this digital drawing, but if there is anything, or if there's something more glaring than all the other 100 mistakes I've made, I'd appreciate to hear them out. If not, comment on anything else is appreciated too. First of all, Cintiqs, yeah, they're so good.
Jelly. So I don't know what like coloring method you've gone for here, but I see a lot of mess. Essentially, like a lot of time we talk about sort of how to improve things. I'm going to say just look out for like lines like this that I'm erasing right now, and this is here. If we take the hair and cut out all these little lines where the colors sort of it looks like you've basically paint bucketed on top of something without any sense of like the what's it called, like threshold that the tools have, where they'll like pick similar colors. It's always best to have a little area. You can use the paint bucket tool to get like the big main area of it, but then always use some manual. Like you're doing things manually is your best friend. The computer will never be smarter than you. Just go through and make sure you clean everything manually, even if it's a bit of a chore. Sometimes drawing is. In fact, the better you get with drawing, the more things become a chore, but it'll become more rewarding. So just take the time to like clean everything. So you got this here, like there's all these lines here. So let's get rid of those, and there's like, more of the outlines splintered off a little bit. It's just like little bits like that really annoy me in my own pictures if I leave them. So I never leave those little bugs and mistakes and stray lines where like say you'll have like, oh, here's the outline. Okay, so here's like the ear, let's say, and then like you got a bit of the mane, and then like you got this. I will never leave that. I always make sure to get rid of that. I can't stand it. It's like, get rid of that stray line. Everything has to be neat. That was actually a really nice ear. I'm happy with that ear. Bye-bye. Yeah, just I don't know. I don't know what method you're using for coloring. I would always say make sure you're using layers, because it looks to me like you've just paint bucketed on top of a sketch. get your layers in there. Layers are the best thing since sliced bread. They are the best
No.
things since everything that was ever invented. Just like use them. So make sure you have like your lines on a layer. Underneath those lines on a separate layer, you'll want to be painting your colors. And whether you temporarily turn your sketch off and then make your selections or do your paint bucketing, or whether you paint it manually in, make sure you use that. I was looking at your picture from a distance. It's gorgeous. It looks like it could be really, really pretty if it was like properly cleaned up. But then as soon as we like zoom in, it's you see all these little bugs. So just I think you would very well benefit from having like a refined sort of neatness. And I get you were just playing around with your tablet. That's absolutely fine. Like, that's cool. You were just trying to get used to the tablet. There's a huge learning curve there. My first tablet drawings were incredibly messy as well. So I get it. It's fine. Just some pointers for the future. Oh, I think the ear is coming in a little bit sort of melded to her face here as well. Come to think of it. Other than that, though, I don't really have anything. You guys doing some lovely floofy tail there.
So the tail felt a bit like it was a blanket instead of a tail.
Mhm.
So I would suggest just thinking about the strands, because it wouldn't just fall in and droop in like a blanket would.
Her mane and tail are often treated like a blanket in the show, but that's not necessarily the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do this is shit. I was trying to do some like visual representation of having a point and then the hair blooming out, woo, and then giving it that weight. Ooh, look at this lovely weighty hair, but it sucks. I was trying to feel it out. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to just like feel it out, make it loose.
Absolutely. And like, speaking of that, you just got your tablet. Give yourself time to get used to it. I'm
Yeah,
sure you know. I'm
scribble
sure you've
lines.
said it. Exactly. Scribble lines. Get a feel for it. See how it reacts when you do stuff.
Mhm.
Like, do dumb stuff. Draw a circle, and then like see what you can do with
Yeah.
the circle.
I mean, there's always that time when you're sort of like testing out if your tablet works well with a new drawing program or testing out the tools on a new drawing program, and you'll just do this. Okay, let's try the next tool. Okay, cool. You know, so you're just doing scribbles until your whole drawing thing is just like a mess.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there definitely is a learning curve. When I first started using a tablet, basically I had a tablet for years and I never used it for lining, but I had a tablet for a long time before I started actually drawing digitally, because I just didn't know how. It didn't seem possible to me that you could make lines because it just was always messy, and I could not find any tutorial anywhere. Nothing anywhere on the internet helped at all. No, it was always like how to draw this pretty art, and there's always like Photoshop tutorials and stuff on like, oh, make this layer and then make it this mode and then paint the shading here. And there was always like, have your line art. It was like, but how do I make the line art? You know, it was always really stressful. But once I actually started using it, it was this is really, really, really hard, but I'm going to keep doing it even though it's not working. And then eventually I got over that learning curve, you know, and it like just sort of clicked. Because it's like walking up a hill. It looks like it goes on forever and it's really hard, but then you pull to the top and then you look down and like, oh, that wasn't very far actually.
Mm-hmm.
It was just steep. So it's just a case of like drawing. You can only get so far, like drawing scribbles and circles. That will help to like play around with that at first and just get used to the tools and the stabilization. But just try really loosely scribbling ponies. Just like don't have a sketch. Just get up your drawing things like, hey, scribbles, and like let's turn it into a pony. You know, here we go. Just incredibly loose. So let's get a different. Let's draw. I'm just doodling ponies. Woohoo! It's really messy and weird. Doesn't look right, but you know, just because then you're getting used to the way the tablet looks, and then CPC turns them into adorable fluffs. Look at that. So that will give you a feel for how the tablet feels, and it will give you a feel for what needs to, like if you're like, oh, the lines absolutely aren't getting into the shape I want them to be, you can try messing with your stabilization. And then you might find something you like. And there are going to be things that you need to just change over time. Like, you're not going to just suddenly get the tablet working for you. there will be points where like you're drawing and it's just you're still struggling to get it right, and then at some point you decide like it would be good just to keep experimenting. That's my advice. So sometimes you don't even know you need to change something, but then you change your stabilization and it's like, oh wow, this is great. you know. So it's sometimes it's something as simple that you might not have thought of, like you could be drawing and it's really hard for you, but then you try making your brush size smaller and putting more pressure on the tablet, or vice versa, and sometimes that actually does help. It all depends on how you want to draw. So just keep scribbling and what is happening over there. I love it.
See,
So just
keep
keep
doing that.
experimenting.
Yeah.
exactly what's happening right here. Just draw silly things because it'll give you a feel for the tablet really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's an absolute masterpiece.
A fuzzy pineapple head with gorgeous hair.
All right, on to the last
pretty.
one.
Yes, sir.
It's a QT.
All right, this one is Artist Awesome, and it's art by me. OC belongs to B_the_name bracket taken bracket on amino dash digital pen tool traced from my sketch.
Cool.
That is totally how they meant it to be said.
There's a lot of little things to improve here, I think. I don't know to what extent you have built up under sketching or anything like that, but a lot of it does look kind of stiff. Let's see. First of all, let's see. Can we get to the it's on foreground. A layer disappeared. Okay. I'm just gonna do something. Give me 1 sec. One tickety boo. I'm just gonna over here. Cool. Grab this. And there we go. I'm going to avoid CBC's dead sheep. And let's just give this pony a neck. Because, there we go. Ponies should have a neck. So that's one thing that was bothering me is, I don't know if that was intentional, maybe it was a posing thing, but the pony didn't have a neck. Even then, this is still sort of like, I mean, you've obviously got a style going here. Like it's very chibi, sort of low proportion style. Hold on, let me just, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna mess around with the draw pile. What are you guys doing? Getting blue color, and then I'm going, not that. Select, edit, fill. Woohoo! Just so we can draw more on top of this. I'm assuming that all those colors around the pony's legs are like paint and not just like that's part of like the sort of body splotch colors. So we're gonna do this. Let's have a look at this pony. So circle head. So looking towards us like this. So you always start with the cross. I sometimes only just do the diagonal myself, but that's just me. You usually want to do the full. I don't think you need to go into like, okay, so like here's the upper quarter and there's no like, that's just too much, I think. So let's say they got a little nose, or you want to do like the sort of traditional, little, sort of like they were traditionally in the show. Cool. And then the eyes. Let's put an eye here, and an eye over here. Neat. It's getting kind of hard to see which is the one color. That's why I usually use like multiple colors in my drawings. So we've got the cheek. I do love your little pudgy cheek. That is a good choice. So cool. Let's go over these eyes so we can see them better. A bit better. Can't speak. This might not be right because again, it's very hard to draw onto someone else because you're very distracted by what's underneath. But something like this. Woo! And we've got a cute little pony. Then we've got like the ear comes here. Woo! And then they go down and they go into the bottom. That makes sense. It's a little bit different from your styles. Obviously, a little bit different from the show. But if you are trying to go for the show, then I would say to pull up references, get screenshots from the show, get other people's art, look between all of them, compartmentalize your referencing, and just study how the different shapes and stuff go from the show. This might also just be like a young. I think this looks like a young pony to me, but I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. They might be short.
These two are not the same.
Yeah. The cutie mark on the body actually, I think, looks a little bit better than the cutie mark from the top. Or at least the music note. I don't know if those are music notes. They sort of look like music notes, upside down. I don't know if that's what they are.
I don't. One's backwards and the stem
Yeah.
doesn't go
The
right.
the paintbrush here looks better.
Yeah.
But on the cutie mark on the bum, you got some more like the highlight on the ink there. It's just that the brush doesn't sort of have that like voluminous shape. So do that. But I'd say like have a cutie mark, like draw it here and draw it like as nicely as you can. Get it like in fact, do it on its own image. Get like your cutie mark file, make it nice and big, and just draw it out properly, and then just paint it on and paste it there. Because then you got a consistency. If this is meant to show this is what their cutie mark is, then you want it to look the same. This is what people are probably going to copy paste to their drawings, or use as reference at the very least. So they might miss a little bit of highlights you got on the brush there. Yeah. See, someone else was working on the legs as well. You guys have anything else to say? I'm hogging all the critique.
Nope.
No, you were doing great. Like, really nothing to add. Just drawing weird alien ponies.
Dino. Bye, Dino.
Hi, Dino. Bye, Dino.
Bye,
Oh,
Dino.
bye, Dino.
They're
it's
gonna
done.
they're gonna meet
No.
a pillow monster.
We can sing now.
Not yet. They're gone. Just
Go wait for mum and dad to go to bed. So we can sing.
all right. Let's move on to our next request. Oh my gosh, we already filled our canvas.
Oh, we have another request.
Yes, we do.
Ooh.
The
art party
what is
continues.
this?
Oh, whoa.
That's a big canvas.
You know what they say
Diamond
about big
photos,
canvases?
So what are we doing, LD?
Well, I'm trying to paste a picture because I am a dummy. There we go. Don't put it on layer 3.
That is a super adorable pony. Are you trying to kill us?
So-
that is my question.
So their request was a cuteness audit along with a proportioned and shading critique. So I believe Fluffy's eye dying there gives you at least an 11 out of 10.
The cuteness is real.
It is super. I love the just cute little blush and like the covering mouth is adorable.
I believe CPC would say it could be cuter if we give it fluff.
Dilavi wants to push it to a 12 out of 10.
Fluff it.
Fluff.
Give it little
Taking it
fluffies.
out.
Like
And-
Yeah,
a
we
little cheek.
can do it. We can make it fluffier. We can make it.
And possibly a little plushie on her head,
Keep hands the case.
or like a little nightcap.
I don't actually know how like nightcaps like a Santa hat.
Yeah.
It's too
Yeah.
early for Christmas, Luna.
It's like a floppier.
You should be more into Nightmare Night anyway. There we go.
There you go.
So I wanted to just do it like a tiny one covering the horn. Okay, so they want to know about shading.
Yeah, they had a question about shading.
Proportions.
So it looks like you've done a very simplistic shading, but you don't have a consistent light source. Your
Yeah.
light source is all over the place.
You want to continue actually having shading in parts of the body that don't. If it's the annoying thing about shading, right? If it's somewhere, it's got to be everywhere. I know it's a chore, but it's yeah. So just a matter of like making it consistent across the drawing. I hate doing shading myself. Oh yeah, there's a little nightcap now. But yeah, if you do, so these that I've drawn, you fill in this with the shading. It won't actually be white, of course. That's the color I seem to keep getting on my pen. Proportions, though, I'm not sure like what there would be a problem with proportions. I think it's really good. It's definitely very chibi. If that's not what you're intending, then let that be the feedback. Your proportions make it very chibi. You got the big eyes that are very close together, and it looks good because I think you got the proportions right. You know, it's okay with this sort of style to break some anatomy rules. Like the ear is very close to the eye, but it's okay because like it works with the style. You don't want to use this excuse, oh, it's a style thing, but like let that be a reason, not an excuse, right? A reason why it works, not an excuse as to why you want it to. But this definitely works. I love how the hair sits. Like you got to smile. No matter what color I use, you can't see it. Oh my gosh.
Try pink. Pink seems to work.
Yeah, pink is best. Bright orange. Yeah, that's great. Okay. I love generally like the proportion of the hair to like the body. It works really well. You got this really nice framing where the hair is. It frames the face really nicely, and I just like how sort of the general volume of it. It's not too much or too little.
I think, okay, if I had to be nitpicky, now this is nitpicky, I don't know how I feel about there's like a bunch of body parts we just see a little bit of, and I feel like we're not getting enough information.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is the body just because I feel it, and this is probably the other wing, but I still don't, you know, I don't. There's a lot. At first glimpse, it's just kind of like I'm confused with what the picture is. Also, the wing over here. Let me pick a different color. I just realized I'm using purple.
Yeah, I tried purple as well. See, what I'm drawing is our brains trying to figure out where all the stuff continues.
Absolutely. This wing, to me, feels backwards. Usually when you do chibi wings, the biggest feather is on top rather than on the bottom. So just like thinking of things like that, you know, if you were to just like...
Yeah, the way I'm seeing the wing is so you have sorry if that was in your way.
Oh, you're fine.
I don't know if this is even visible. But the way I'm seeing the wing right now is that it's sort of like this angle to the body rather than being like this angle to the body.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's what is intended or not. So it's about picking how the wing's meant to be on the body. That makes sense. Oh, it's just below where we can actually see.
Yeah.
LD, we need to zoom down slightly.
Oh wait, no, just not the big fluff.
No, it's as much as I can understand why you think that. It's those two little. Yeah. CBC's drawing next to it as well. Yeah, so just think about like the direction of the wing. That's nice point by Ali.
Like, especially if you're doing something so simplistic and so chibi, the little details kind of ruin the idea of things being so simple. Like just having these little specks of poking out areas. Like usually with the very simple style, you're very direct, and it's like, yes, this is what it is. This is how it looks. This is, you know, it's simplified. So like having like, oh well, it just peeks through slightly. Like, okay, that is acceptable. Things like that do happen in chibi styles. But I feel like for this close-up, just being like the face and the body showing so little, it might just like either show the body a little more or show like whoever did the yellow have like just the body poking out and you see like the elbows of the hooves. You know, like you can totally break an anatomy, do human stuff with it. I think that could help complete it and even make it cuter because it's like, oh, the little elbows are like all bent up and she's like covering her.
We can push it to a 14.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got something very adorable, and I think it's very expressive. Like, I definitely look at this and I see like this picture is emoting. I think like if I saw this on a Tumblr blog, I can easily see this being like a response to something. And it's like it's full of emotion and very cute.
Absolutely.
I also agree with whoever turned the eye speckles into hearts. Definitely do that.
That's adorable. Yes.
Or little moons.
Oh yeah.
Heart, stars, and moons.
And I know you
Have
made
all the
Zamzam
shapes.
very happy that you included the little poking of the ear. See, that kind of a poke out I find acceptable because it's not like there's more to it.
I
It's just,
love
oh,
that.
it's just the ear.
Yeah, I love that it implies the ears are at a different angle. It's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got one ear is just like coming up this way, and the other is going outwards a little bit. That's really cute.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I want to say as well. We see a lot of people on here, and a lot of critique we give sometimes is to draw instances the posing and general anatomy being very stiff. Either it's like inconsistent or it's too consistent, and like every body part is lined up neatly. But yours has a lot of depth and motion. Like there's a lot of motion, a lot of life in how she's posed. Everything's like turning its own way, sitting very comfortably. I really like that. Like that's definitely something you should do and focus on is making sure your characters have that life in their posing. That's very well done.
We need more cute Luna.
All right.
You're welcome.
Well, anyone else have any art they'd like to have critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask? Any other fluffies eyes they'd like to pay for more fluffing?
I don't have any art to submit because I've not been drawing much because I'm a lazy bum. Although I have been drawing a bat OC.
Oh, for Halloween.
Yeah, this is I think the third or fourth attempt to trying to design this OC.
Man, I'm excited for Halloween. Like, I just like
I'm so
October.
excited. I already want to buy Halloween sweets and make chocolate apples. I
Yeah.
don't care that's the second.
Chocolate apples.
Listen, the second
Yeah.
it turns October, it's Halloween. It's not, you don't wait for Halloween Day. It just is Halloween the second it
Right?
turns October. It's just the fact. You guys have to deal with that. Spoop.
Yeah, it's Halloween month.
Exactly.
It's the spook month.
Like, come on, there's so much, like, fun stuff. There's costumes, there's candy, there's
Crunchy leaves.
crunchy. Oh, the whole fall feeling and smell
My favorite. It's my favorite month.
is a great month.
Cold.
It's going to be
chocolate.
26 this weekend. 26
Maybe when you
Celsius
are.
in Canada land.
I'm just
Speaking
going
of
That's
to
crazy.
Canada.
I was reading on Twitter this morning, and one of the artists I follow is in Alberta, and they already have like a foot of snow, and I'm like, oh god.
Well,
Yeah, and over in Ontario, we got nothing.
and it's
been-
like much warmer down here than it. Like I came down back where I live from staying with CPC, and like I'm surprised everything's much warmer. You should. It's definitely not gotten as low as 4 degrees. You should come visit me if you're cold, CPC.
All right. Well, seeing as we got no other pictures, let's call it a day. So thank you all for coming,
Practice.
and we'll see you again next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.